So my name is Mehdi Barati. I got my bachelor degree and master degree back in my home country, Iran. I migrated to the US in 2011. I got my PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. My specific field of studies are economics of crime and health economics. And as a matter of fact, these are the fields that I'm teaching here at USM. Everybody think about economics as like expect economists to know more about a stock market and equity market and such, but the broad idea of economists is that we have unlimited wants, right? But we have limited resources. What are our resources? Our resources could be natural resources like water, wood, mineral, oil. These are our resources. It could be labor resources like human, and then we could have capital like infrastructure. So we could divide our resources into three categories: natural resources, labor, and capital or infrastructures. These are limited. We don't have many of them, but the wants are unlimited, right? As an economist, we just want to set aside these limited resources to those unlimited wants efficiently. What I mean by efficiently, it means that there are some goods and services that we don't need to produce, but there are some that we need to produce more. And then the question is how? How do we do that? How, as an economist, we just set these limited sources, set aside these limited sources to those unlimited wants. We have two broad systems. One, we call it planned economy. Like if we have a dictator, or if we have a communism, socialism system, a group of dictators basically, they say that, hey, you have to produce these goods and services. You have no market system. They decide what should be produced and how we should spend or use those limited resources. But the modern economy is market economy. Market economy eventually decides how to allocate those limited resources to unlimited ones. Let me give you an answer. Right now, we have gas cars, normal cars, right? So most of our resources goes toward producing gas cars, right? Normal vehicles that we have right now. And then we have somebody like Elon Musk started producing those electric vehicles. It means using some of our resources to produce that. So in order for electric car to exist in a market economy, if it was planned economy, the dictator could say, hey, stop producing gas cars and stop doing that and just produce electric car. They could say that because they're dictator or they're socialism, their group of elites that they want to do that, right? They decide that. But in market economy, first we need somebody like Elon Musk who want to produce that. Then we need demand for it. So we need a seller, supplier, and then we need somebody who buys it. And when people show interest, eventually electric cars will replace gas cars because they're more efficient. If they're not efficient, people don't go for them or nobody will produce them. That brings us to the most important factors how to allocate it is that we need a seller, we need sellers, which eventually form supply, and we need buyers, which eventually form demands, and we need supply and demand for all goods and services. The research that I'm doing specifically myself is on healthcare expenditure, that because US healthcare expenditure is the highest in the world, like amount of money that we spend on different services in healthcare is the highest in the world. And as far as dollar value, as far as percentage of GDP is like the highest. If we compare it with other developed countries, for example, I don't remember off the top of my mind, but like most of developed countries are around 11% to 12% of their GDP, like spent on healthcare, but US is around 17, 16% of GDP. And just remember that our GDP is the highest in the world, like by far is number one, and those countries, like developed European countries, if we add all their GDP, probably will be still less than our GDP. So 16%, 17% of our large GDP means a lot of money. So my research specifically is on why we spend this much on healthcare expenditure, on healthcare in general. There are a variety of reasons that we spend too much on healthcare. In general, when healthcare is not public, it's private, then healthcare expenditure will go up, or overcare would be a problem. Of course, when it's public, undercare would be a problem. But think about it this way. Doctors are our agent. We trust them with our health. So, and health is something that they have like a lot more information than us. It's not like you buy a TV or you buy a car and you could shop around. You go to a doctor, they tell you that you need MRI, you need x-rays, and you just go take it. So that we call it like physician power is one part of it. And then, yes, they're our agent, but since it's private, more service means more money for hospitals, right? Not specifically doctors, but for hospitals management. And then at the same time, we have this problem of, we call it defensive medicine, because not only they can make more money, like hospitals could make more money by like more service, by us people buying more service, they protect themselves against us patients suing them. That's why, again, they order more service. And then they like it because, like I said, it's more money for them. And we, as customers, we don't care because we have third-party payment. No matter what, if we get sick or not, we have to pay our premiums. So when we get sick, insurance company will pay for our service, basically. That third-party payment would be another reason that we have overcare problem. So in your physician power, defensive medicine, and third-party payment would be the reason that the number of services are too much or overcare happens. And at the same time, prices are too high because we don't really have competition in demand, in customer side, in demand side. Because, like I said, we have a third-party payment, and if doctor tell us that you need MRI or X-ray, we just get it because somebody else will pay for it. When no matter what, we have to pay the premiums. The other reason, which is not as important as the other two, is called cost shifting. A lot of people in the US, they don't have insurance. After Obamacare got better, but still many people, especially after Trump administration, make it like optional to have insurance, because with Obamacare, you're required to have an insurance plan. And after Trump, it become like optional according to states. Long story short, and many people don't have insurance. When they get sick, instead of going to their primary physician, they go to emergency room, which by law, emergency rooms, ERs must admit them. Cost of ER is probably $1,500, $2,000. And if you go there for a cold, it's $1,500, $2,000, as opposed to you could go to your primary doctor at $200, $300. And then many people without insurance, they don't pay that ER bills. Hospitals have some estimation of that and then distribute that cost to the people with insurance. To all these reasons, we have overcare problem and costs are higher, prices are higher. That's why in general, we have like much higher healthcare expenditure than other European countries. Medicare for all is something that is a single payer, is very close to something that we have in countries like Canada. It would be an option, but then undercare would be a problem. Because right now, think about it this way. You're a doctor, you work in a hospital, and no matter how many patients you see, you get paid the same amount, all right? You're less incentivized to provide care, right? Even though in Medicare for all, it's just, this what I just explained is like a very extreme version of Medicare for all right? But the other version is if you are incentivized to provide more, like be a better doctor because your benefit and profit is involved, right? So Medicare for All is very good because first of all, we have 100% access. Do you remember I told you that with the current system that we have many people, I think it's around 7 to 8% right now of people that don't even have insurance. With Medicare for All, access would be 100%. As far as cost goes, the cost will go down too. Why? Because we have just one unified system named government that the negotiate prices with hospital. They cannot set prices. So costs will go down, and then we have 100% access, which is a good thing. But then the quality of healthcare, that's what we have to sacrifice when we have something like Medicare. By how much, it depends on government, because eventually we have to trust government as a uniform system that runs the system. Does that make sense? Right now we're too advanced in other direction that is so hard to all of a sudden switch to Medicare for All. Personally, I believe that something in between would work better. Like, we have Medicare for All, think about it this way, we have Medicare for All, but at the same time we allow private hospitals to run as well. Then we have competition. Because if we have Medicare for All, for example, I tore my ACL. I had my surgery, I saw my doctor, scheduled my surgery in a week. And because the system is private, doctors love to, or hospitals love to perform my surgery because they get paid. If it was Medicare for All, if I was in Canada, it wouldn't be as fast. Probably I had to wait a month. Now, I will love a system that I have access to both. I have an option. If I want to wait for a month or 2 months and have my surgery for free, I have Medicare for All. But if I want a better quality and have my surgery faster, I have that private system. So what I'm trying to say, only Medicare for All might not be the best case scenario. A combination of both would be better. Or we could say instead of Medicare for All, we could have some public hospitals that charge less than, the quality is lower, but charge less than the private hospitals. In private hospital, I can have my own room with a TV. Say in public one, I have to share my room and I don't have a TV, but the cost will be lower. Then I have an option. Do we have an option right now? No. And the fight or competition between hospitals is over quality, not over price, because consumers, us patients, we are not price sensitive. That third-party payment, insurance payment, plays a big role because no matter what we pay our premiums, whether we get sick or not, after we get sick, we just want to get the best quality and we don't care about the price. So that's why I say something in between would be better. I think people are not informed enough because what's the difference? If we trust our government, that's a big if. If we trust our government, instead of paying premiums to an insurance company, we pay even less of that to government, and then we get free health insurance, free health care. I think it makes sense. Of course, quality going to be a little bit lower, but we're not going to witness a sharp decline in quality because people still are used to this current quality that we have. And like I said, a system that we have a little bit of both, like we have Medicare for All, single payer system, but at the same time we allow private hospitals to operate as well. So if we want a little bit better quality, less waiting time in line, a room for ourselves with TV, with filet mignon as food, then we pay for it. And this is currently what I just described. This is currently what we see in our hospitals. Like some of them, they look like 5-star hotels, the hospitals, which is good, but the better would be to have an option between paying less, getting a little bit lower quality.